Hello OpenPSYC students, this is Dr. Curtis. This video is about elaborative rehearsal. This is part of the cognition chapter. But really this video is a way for you to study and memorize information in a way that makes it a lot easier for you to remember on something like an exam. The process of elaborative rehearsal is a way for you to improve your memory by enriching the coding of information. Now, what I mean by that is we're going to take a concept that you need to remember and then you'll need to be able to access, and we're going to connect it with other pieces of information. That's what we mean by enriching, so that you'll be able to access it easier in the future. Let me give you an example of what I mean so that you can kind of understand what this means to elaboratively rehearse. One way to elaboratively rehearse a piece of information is by creating a vivid mental image. What we're going to do is we're going to try and connect an image with a piece of information. So the piece of information, who was the 9th President of the United States? I've got this piece of information, 9th President of the United States, with another piece of information, in this case, William Henry Harrison. So William Henry Harrison was the 9th President of the United States. And so I've got to remember 9th President of the United States, and I've got to connect it with William Henry Harrison. So the question is, how am I going to do that? On an exam, I might get the question, who was the 9th President of the United States, or I might get, who was William Henry Harrison, and I need to be able to go back and forth. I need something in my mind, a schema of William Henry Harrison that connects the two pieces of information, who was the 9th President of the United States and William Henry Harrison. And they could go either way. The way I'm going to do that is by creating a mental image. This mental image is going to be a connection between those two things. So what I can do is I've got William Henry Harrison, 9th President of the United States, and so I'm going to remember Henry had 9 hairy sons. So this is my connecting piece, 9th President of the United States, and Harrison, hairy sons. So I'm going to remember the phrase, Henry had 9 hairy sons, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to imagine in my mind these 9 hairy sons. These 9 guys, you see them in a grid, I can see that. So that when I'm sitting there thinking, okay, William Henry Harrison, Harrison, hairy son, 9th President of the United States, 9 hairy sons. And so when I get the question, who was the 9th President of the United States, I can say, 9th President of the United States. Oh, who was that? 9 Harrison, or the opposite way as well. The way this works is what I'm doing is I'm creating links in the schema. You'll remember from the accessibility presentation that we did before that that these are like schools of fish. The schema that we have about something is like a school of fish. And what I'm doing is I'm making this schema larger. So I've got Henry Harrison, 9 sons, etc. And so when I activate any part of this schema, so for example, just the part about the hairy sons, the whole schema comes and becomes more accessible in my mind. All I have to do is be able to picture these 9 hairy guys, and I'm going to remember that William Henry Harrison was the 9th President of the United States, 9 hairy sons, William Henry Harrison. The more links I make to Harrison and 9 hairy sons, the more ways there are to increase the accessibility of William Henry Harrison and 9 hairy sons. The whole schema becomes more accessible, becomes primed when that happens. So what I'm saying is elaborative rehearsal is you making a connection, finding a way to connect the two pieces of information that you need to remember, connecting William Henry Harrison with 9th President of the United States. And the way I did that is by creating a vivid mental image in my mind. You might also create some other way of connecting those two pieces of information, whether it's something from your past or something that's emotionally relevant to you. That would work as well. But does this really work as a study technique? And the answer obviously is yes. There was a study done by Simpson et al. In 1994 where they randomly assigned students to either study by creating elaborative rehearsals or just study in other ways, like reading over your notes or other ways of doing it. And then they gave them an exam. What they found is that students who studied using elaborative rehearsals were a lot more effective on the exam. They did a lot better at recalling the information and accessing the information they need. So, here are some suggestions that I have for you for using elaborative rehearsals. The more vivid and unique those connections are, the better. If you try and connect things to sensory information, it's probably going to be even better for you. Sensory information, I mean your senses, sight, hearing, touch, smell, those kind of things, because we tend to be able to remember those pretty well. Don't overdo it. It takes time to do elaborative rehearsals. So only use these in things that you really need to remember well. Don't try and do it for every single thing that you might have to be tested about in whatever subject you happen to be. And think about it in terms of things that are most important to you and most difficult for you to remember. By actually creating those, you will do better on your next exam. I hope you can use elaborative rehearsals and remember how they work in your mind. And thanks again for watching.